Stand by to launch Fan Stream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Fan Stream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, good morning and welcome into the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo, who you can reach at palermopa.com. All right, we know the matchup now. It's going to be Rams and Buccaneers, 3 o'clock Sunday on NBC, News Channel 8 here locally. And if you're a Buccaneers fan at this point right now, it's not a great look. It's not a great look for a lot of different reasons. But do not forget this. The Bucs went on the road last year and defeated the great Taylor Heineke and the Washington football team.
Don't throw around that word great, please, with Taylor Heineke.
And then they had to go through Drew Brees,
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes. Nobody thought they could ever do that. So as we sit here today thinking, yikes, we might be down 2 offensive linemen, and here come the red-hot L.A. Rams. It wasn't so long ago that Matthew Stafford was throwing the ball all around to just about anybody. So don't lose heart. The Bucs are 3-point favorites in this game against the Rams, which tells you Vegas thinks the two teams are even. And look, folks, it happened in the Bucs' favor last year in the Super Bowl when the Chiefs were down their 2 starting tackles, and we knew it was going to be a huge deal in that game. Andy Reid really didn't coach around it in any way, and they got their ass kicked. Do not expect the same from the Bucs brain trust. They know how to coach around injuries. They've been doing it all year long. They haven't been doing it on the offensive line, though. So that's where the issues are going to come in. And we'll hear from Bruce Arians here in just a minute, talk about his offensive linemen and where they are at this particular time. My gut feeling is that Ryan Jensen's going to go and Tristan Wirfs will probably not go. That's my gut feeling at this particular time. And I mentioned this yesterday, and when Bruce did his media availability, which we'll hear in just a little bit and we'll break down everything he said Kappa, they've done this before, move Kappa out to tackle, and Aaron Stinney goes in at right guard. I don't, is that a drop off? Of course it's a drop off. I mean, Tristan Wirfs is an all-pro right tackle. You just put him out there and he's going to take care of whomever is out there. And now whomever is out there. And the Rams obviously have a very good defensive front. They're going to be getting it. And against Brady in the first one, they had 16 pressures, and that was our best offensive line. 4 sacks and 16 pressures, the most he's faced this year when they played the Rams earlier this year. And I've said this, since midseason of last year, the kryptonite for this team is a good pass rush. And that's all. And that's the main thing. No matter what else you have, that's the most important thing. If you can get to Brady, you're going to affect the Buccaneers in a very big way. And there's a team that can do that. It's their regular offensive line. So it's a challenge. There's no doubt about it. But listen, the Rams are not without warts. They have a quarterback that has not been successful at this level. He got his first playoff win last night in a very friendly, confined environment against the Arizona team, frankly, that hasn't been good for about a month and a half. They've been terrible for a month and a half. And so that win last night, I don't think tells me, wow, the Rams are just clicking. They played a bad Arizona team. I don't know why Arizona got so bad in the last month and a half, but Kyler Murray was terrible last night.
He looked like he had never played quarterback before.
Awful.
I mean, I don't know what else to describe it. It looked like Texas A&M, Kyler Murray, and Texas Tech, Cliff Kingsbury just made a baby last night. No idea what was going on with him. But my first thoughts are, we're facing the Rams, though. This is exactly what 2020 felt like to me with the Saints. It's the same situation just about, except you've got it at home.
Yeah.
You've got a team that's got your number. Everybody's like, oh, we're not going to win this game. You got a hot team coming in, but anything can happen in the playoffs. Like you said, the Bucs did it last year. The difference is you got it at home this year, which is a lot easier. So, it's going to be tough. We know that, but you got to have faith. You got to have faith. If you're
Absolutely.
A Bucs fan.
I mean, if you got Tom Brady, you got faith.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And all right, coming up on the show today, Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report's going to join us at 10:30. Always enjoy our long format conversations with Scotty. TJ Rives is going to join us, Bucs sideline guy at 11:15. Always fun to chat with TJ, get his thoughts from field level on the last game and look ahead. Of course, he was in LA for that game. I stayed We'll go over that as well. We're going to hear from Bruce Arians. We'll go through his entire media session yesterday. A lot of interesting things in there. But as we just look on the surface at this particular game, I'd say obviously protecting Tom Brady is number one. Will the Bucs be able to come out and go no huddle up tempo like they did this last game? I don't even think. I'm not sure if they want to. This is one of the great things we've learned about Brady is that he is always for a little bit of wrinkle here, a little bit of wrinkle there in the playoffs. They are always going to come up with something new. You heard him on his post game. You always got to find a way to beat people in a different way. That's part of his strategy, I think, of winning Super Bowls. And the Patriots were so good at this; they could reinvent themselves in a week. They could reinvent themselves within a half. Because they just have such a smart football team. And I think this Buccaneers team is the football IQ is at that level. We've talked about this for a long time. This is a really, really smart football team. And it's because of their preparation. It's because of their coaching staff, really good. It was Sal Pal yesterday talking about just the incredible talent that the Bucs have on their coaching staff. It's not just the coordinators. It goes down to Larry Foote and so far down to Godwin, the OC coach who was the interim head coach. All these guys are just they've been on this game for a very long time, and they're super, super smart. And Arians is I think a very, very underrated a coach. I know Brady gets so much of the accolades, but Arians is a 2-time coach of the year for a reason. So it's a very, very talented coaching staff. They're going to get pilfered in the offseason. I don't think there's any way that Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich both don't get jobs. So this is going to be a very different coaching staff next year. So look, this game, it has a lot of different things, a lot of different elements. We'll be talking about it all week. Just on the face of it, to me, it comes down to protecting Brady, number one. Now, and defensively, watching Matthew Stafford last night, and I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this. Nick Geddes, by the way, Outkick.com, joining me as he does every day. They didn't ask Matthew Stafford to do a lot last night.
No, they didn't. I think he threw the ball 17 times. I think that's a season low for him. And the difference is they had Cam Akers back in the fold, and that's a lot different. They didn't have him for the entire year, and you see how important he was to the offense. But
returning from a torn Achilles in 6 months,
I mean, that's just freakish.
Stem cells are amazing. If you're saying to yourself, why, we're seeing guys come back from ACLs earlier. We're seeing guys come back from injuries a lot earlier. And this is unprecedented. A 6-month Achilles injury. I mean, this is unprecedented. And a lot of it has to do with stem cells, injecting stem cells into, this is what I'm told, by the way, folks. I'm not a doctor, but I've been told and explained this, that these stem cells go in there and they rebuild that tissue so much faster than your body does on its own. And it's changing the way teams look at injuries now. It's incredible that he's back in 6 months.
It really is insane. And, we obviously got a chance to see him a lot at Florida State. We know this guy can play. Yeah. And he adds he definitely adds
He was the number one recruit coming out of high school.
Yeah, absolutely.
The year he came out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He played on some bad FSU teams, and he still was game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. And he means a lot to that offense now having him in there. But it was the defense for the Rams that was the star of the show. Yeah. That was the reason why. I mean, they didn't really have the ball much. Arizona had it a lot, but just couldn't do much with it. I just don't know the chances of the Bucs laying an egg like the Cardinals did in the playoffs.
No,
because I think we saw that coming. I feel like with Arizona.
Yeah, they've been bad for a while. And so what do I take away from that game? Look, we knew the Rams were good. The Rams and they handled the Bucs pretty easily. I mean, Cooper Kupp ran wild against them. I think he had 9 catches in that game. Obviously they've added Odell Beckham, and this is. If I could just make a suggestion for Odell, this week, you're going to have a lot of eyes on you, especially at the big touchdown last night. You played well. I think this is the time to just go Odell. I mean, maybe I can hook you up with AB and Madonna. Who else was there? Was he
Floyd Mayweather?
Floyd Mayweather.
Yay.
We could rent a boat.
I'm about to say we need a boat.
Yeah, today's off day. So they're out in LA. Let's get him a boat. He loves going on boat rides before playoff games. We remember famously. Mm-hmm. So let's get him a boat, get E and AB, and they can do Pit in the Palace, get all together and
great production teams,
Yeah.
photographers,
Yes,
music,
let's go.
the whole
Let's-
9 yards.
Let's go TMZ.
Whole 9 yards. We need some Timberland boots
Odell.
and some jeans.
Yeah, Odell, listen to me. This is your time. It's been a while since you've been able to steal the spotlight, bro. This is your time. You're out in LA. You got all those cameras. We can set up, we'll get the word out. We'll press release it. You guys go out on a nice boat cruise. We can Instagram the hell out of it. We'll TikTok that shiz. We'll do it all, man. You're going to get so many likes. You know how many likes you're going to get on this video? Oh, my God. It's going to be crazy. Dude, this is your time. Don't worry about team. AB will fill you in on that. All right, you don't worry about team. They're just trying to use you to make money. This is your time, Odell. Listen to me, Odell. This is your time. You gotta do your Odell thing, and that's go get the distractions going. You're in LA, the La La Land. It's come on, man. This is your time. Don't wait till next week. There may not be a next week. What if you lose? Come on, man. And not to mention your injury history. I mean, we don't ever want anybody to get injured, but tweak an ankle here or there. But let's just go on full Odell this week. You're gonna have a lot of spotlight on you, so take advantage of it. Don't miss an opportunity like this. AB will tell you all about that, and I think he's got some numbers too of some toilet lickers and that can really, really pick up the views on this video. We can get Kodak involved. I think we can bring Kodak in, because he's hot right now and he knows all about public spectacles. So you'd be Odell. Listen to me. I'm looking right at you. You'd be wasting an opportunity here, my friend. You're going to waste an opportunity if you don't get on that boat and go make some social media history, bro. This is your time. I think I covered that one.
I think you hit that nail on the head there.
We'll just clip that and send it over.
Yep.
Get it trending.
Get it circulating.
Yeah. He'll take the bait. Hook, line, and sinker. This is your time, Odell. All right. I just got the foolishness out of the way. Just had to get that out there. All right. Let's listen to AB. And there's a point in this press conference where he says something that I think is going to come back to haunt him. And it's a little bit later on in the press conference. So we'll get to it, but we're going to go all the way through it and just kind of break it down. A lot of good stuff in here. So let's hear from the head coach. Now, keep in mind, this was done yesterday, so he did not know who his opponent was. There's a couple questions in there about that, which are still kind of interesting to me anyway, how they prepare for different teams. So, but most of this is good knowledge coming from the coach as far as the injury situation.
Much until later this week, but wanted to just check on that ankle and whether this week is in play for him to come back and play at all.
Well, as tough as he is, I think there's a chance. He's in a boot right now. Probably he and Ryan are going to go all the way to Friday before we know anything true. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Thank you.
That sounds like a no to me.
We'll go to Jenny.
Hey, Coach, along the same lines of the injuries, it looked like Levante and JPP and Shaq Barrett may have been on a little bit of a pitch count. How did those guys respond when they went out there and played? How'd those injuries look?
Yeah, they all played good. Shaq didn't look hurt when he was running with that ball.
No, he didn't.
Levante is not as sore as he thought he'd be today. JPP's fine. They all had the good rotation going. They all played about 30, 35 plays. Except Levante played more. But.
And back to Ryan, can you just speak to the fact that, he looked like he suffered a pretty significant injury, and that the fact that he was able to go out there and finish the game, just what can you say about that performance?
Oh, just mental toughness is off the charts. He's as tough a dude as there is playing this game, and that thing was going to have to be broken for him not to go back in.
Wow, thank you.
I see him shake off the trainers as he was coming off the field. Get off me, man! I can walk.
Hey, Bruce, you've said this a couple times, and I think we know what you mean, but if you could expand on it. Once Tom Brady figures you out, you're in trouble. I don't know that he spends any more time in the postseason, but he played a team that he had played earlier this year. Can you just kind of expand on what you mean by Brady?
Yeah, everybody's got something new, each and every week, how they're going to try to defend us. And, I thought we had we had two game plans. One if the weather didn't change, one if the weather did. Obviously, we had to one like the most, and that's the no huddle. and just doing a really good job with short intermediate passes, getting it out of his hands, knowing they're going to play soft. And I thought Byron did a great job of running the ball and making them stop the run, which opened up a couple of guys one-on-one.
Right. And I'm curious, like the no huddle, the up tempo, we've seen that, from you a couple times to start games. Is that just to get the energy going, or you want to keep them in the same defense? You want to use that
A little bit of both. Tire out that defensive line quick as much as we can. But when you look back and do the self-scout, that's when we've been at our best this year.
Right.
And so why not do it more?
I pause it right there. I was in the post-game Zoom conference, and I didn't get a chance to ask them this question in the post-game because of all the offensive people. I only got defensive people to ask questions to. I can't believe nobody asked a question about the no huddle, them starting a game like that. It was a huge part of their strategy, and they did, and the execution level of it was tremendous. Now, obviously, what's cool about this is the Rams now are going to have to prepare for that. They're going to have to prepare for that. And I think Bruce is extreme, and it doesn't matter what you're doing to prepare. There's only one thing you could do to prepare for it, and that's be very good at your basic coverages. And listen, the Rams got great talent on defense. I mean, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Floyd, all those guys. We know what they got on defense, but still, it's the execution part of it that matters. And what Brady was able to do, the precision of the passing, the precision of the routes, and think about this. The younger players, Perriman is not young, but the newer players and Tyler Johnson, I think, will be better this week at running their routes, be more consistent at running their routes, and know what the expectations are from Brady because they did it last week and they won't have those mistakes they made at the beginning.
And even a guy like Mike Evans, who we know we're going to get week to week, and I already know people are going to say, well, he's getting Jalen Ramsey this week. You're going to take him out of the game. I'm not so sure that's going to happen. I'm really not. I think Darius Slay, Mike Evans this year, his route running, we talked about it, has gone to another level. Like, I feel like he's so mischaracterized around the league about what he is. His route running was exceptional against Darius Slay, who's one of the best cover corners. And I think I've seen Jalen Ramsey get beat before by guys who can run really good routes.
And Jalen's a chance taker.
Yeah.
He's a risk taker.
Yeah.
He'll take, and you can get him on certain routes but you got to be good, and you got to be very detailed in your route running, and you got to, give the right head fake, and there's got to be the right situation. I mean, you can get Jalen Ramsey on a double move.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not going to just give that matchup to Jalen Ramsey right away.
Hell no. And
absolutely
listen,
not.
And I think in years past, Mike Evans, pre-Brady, he relied very much on his natural ability, his natural strength. Remember, he used to do a lot of pushing off to get open.
Yes,
that was his main way to get open. And what happened? He got flagged a lot for it. And since Brady has gotten here, he gets open on his route running, how hard he cuts. You saw it with the touchdown, the little shoulder head, the little bob that made the defensive back just tilt a little bit to the inside. It's all you need. It's all you need. Now, is Ramsey better than guys? Absolutely. But still, Mike's pretty damn good. And he's always had a reputation not being a route runner because he wasn't. But the last 2 years, he's upped his game tremendously. So, yeah, I think this up-tempo no huddle is a huge advantage for the Buccaneers. I bet Bruce is probably thinking, man, I don't know if we needed it against the Eagles. I would have liked to bust it out, fresh against the Rams and have them not see it. But here's the beauty of Brady. They and Arians and Leftwich and everybody, they understand the chess game, and they understand what the Rams are going to do when they go out there and no huddle. So they're going to anticipate what their adjustments are going to be, and then they're going to adjust to their adjustments. That's what makes the playoffs so fun. Is you get the best coaching staffs, the best talent, and we'll see who marries the two schemes and executes it to perfection. This is going to be a great game. I'm excited. I mean, look at the talent level on this field this week. Think about that. There's a lot of freaking talent out there. I mean, some of the best players in this game. I mean, future Hall of Famers. The Bucs have Brady, Evans, I think, is a future Hall of Famer. Gronk, obviously, a future Hall of Famer. Tristan Wirfs is on that glide path. He's on that guide path. What else am I think? I think Levante David should be a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think Devin White's going to quite make it there.
I don't think so. No.
AB will be a Hall of Famer. Obviously, he won't be on the field, but Jalen Ramsey's going to be a Hall of Famer. Aaron Donald's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Whitworth.
Whitworth, Hall of Famer, no
Cooper
question.
Kupp's on the trajectory.
Cooper Kupp's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Von
Miller's got a great Jiminy Christmas. You could have like 10 Hall of Famers on the freaking field.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, between this game and the Bills Chiefs and the AFC, I mean, you could ask for 2 better games in the divisional round.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't even think about that, but there's going to be just a crap.
Yeah, it's going to be great there on Sunday. It's going to be great.
Not to mention, the Cam Akers of the world, the up and comers on our team as well. I mean, if Godwin would have been out there, it's amazing how much they're going to miss. But I think another thing, I got to believe Leonard Fournette's going to be back this week. Let's listen to Arians talk more about some of the injury situations.
Thanks.
Ira Kaufman.
Hey, Bruce, considering what's going on with Tristan and Ryan, what's your level of concern with pass protection? Bruce, there were a few breakdowns yesterday.
Yeah, I thought Josh Wells, other than the one bull rush, I thought he played really good because he was playing on a bad leg too. But our inside guys got beat on a couple of twists that shouldn't have happened and misread what they thought they were going to do, and we turned the guy loose. But easily things to correct.
And Bruce, tomorrow, Rondé Barber is going to have his case heard for the Hall of Fame selectors. What do you want to say about Rondé Barber as a Hall of Fame candidate?
Nobody has numbers like him. I mean, his numbers are unbelievable. The fact he never missed a game, played with a broken arm, all the things that he did, basically inventing that nickel position, blitzing, interceptions, even as a corner. He was one of the best corners in that defense that I've played against him enough times. But to me, he doesn't even have to have a speech. I know you're going to do a hell of a job, brother, but his numbers are unbelievable.
Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, and by the way, if you've heard Sal Paolantonio, who's also a Hall of Fame voter, will be in the room. His interview with us yesterday, I mean, he could not be more effusive in his praise of Rondé Barber. He said he's an absolute Hall of Famer, and most of the guys in the room feel that way.
Yeah, I look at some of the corners that have gotten in from that era, like the Champ Baileys of the world, who I think went in first ballot, right?
Yep.
So I understand Bailey probably was a better corner than Rondé. I'll acknowledge that, but 5-6 years of waiting as opposed to, Champ going in first year, I don't know about that one. I think he's in that class.
Well, the Hall of Fame, it really has been a very positional thing. You look at certain positions, what do other guys have? What are their numbers? What do they look at? And I think this is, it's time for the nickelback is basically a starter. I mean, if you go through defenses in the NFL on any given Sunday, nickelbacks are probably starting 80%, 90%, more so than it's a real position, and nobody in the history of the game has played it better than Rondé Barber. Nobody has been more versatile, and people just, I think, gloss over the fact that he has like 1,257, I think it is, official tackles, and he's told us on the show that the Bucs keep a different number because they grade the actual film. Official tackle numbers are a little loosey goosey, but the Bucs go back and grade it, and by their standards, he has over 1,500 tackles. 1,500 tackles. That for a defensive back to have almost average 100 tackles a season, dude, that's insane. Go back and look at some of these Hall of Famers. Like Dion, I think, has like 300 total tackles, 400 total. I have to go look at the numbers, but that's the name of the game. Tackling. Defense is getting people on the ground. I mean, to me, you look at the interception numbers, look at the sack numbers, look at the non-offensive touchdown numbers. I think he has 14. It's insane, his numbers. But I don't see how he's not a Hall of Famer.
No, to me, he's absolutely a Hall of Famer. Everybody that's around it has said he's a Hall of Famer, and Ira's going to do a good job, though, because he's been waiting to really put everything into Rondé for a long time.
Yeah, I think when you look at the class this year, and so much of it does depend on that, because they have the maximum of 5, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes you get just automatic guys that come up like a Peyton Manning, and they're in, and it kind of takes the fringe guys out. I think this class is a little bit more open, and he's got a really good
and a
job.
little bit less competition at that position. That matters as well. There's a little bit less there.
No doubt. All right, let's continue.
Hey, Bruce, for as long as you've been coaching,
Great, Sarah
Is
Walsh.
this version of this team where you've had to plug in pieces because nobody gets through a season unscathed, but the amount of injuries and the way that they have been playing, and to have the record and to be standing where you're standing and to have had the dominant win you had yesterday, is this the best version of a team that you've seen be able to do that and compensate for what you don't have?
Great question.
Yeah, we've had a lot of injuries in the past, but we ended up 8-8. This to be 14-4 with everything that's going on, it's just a credit to the coaching staff, but more so to the players. Jason Light and everybody having this roster, and we talked in the locker room after the game. You put that Bucs helmet on, there's a level of expectation. And you can't be the guy you're replacing. You just got to be the best guy that you can be. And these guys have all stepped in when they've got these opportunities and done it.
Pause it there.
Lord Joey Knight.
He kind of said this the other day too. Doesn't it still sound funny to hear somebody say that? Especially you as a long man. I didn't covered the team longer than you've been alive, but I try to be objective. Am I a Bucs fan? Of course, I like it when they do well.
Yeah.
It helps our industry. I try to stay objective, but yeah, I root for these players. I root for this coaching staff. It's hard not to. But to hear him say that, when you put on a Bucs helmet, it means, that's reserved for the Steelers. That's reserved for the 49ers. It's reserved for the Packers, or
for some of you Bucs
Patriots
fans that you're maybe a transplant and you moved here and the Bucs are good all of a sudden.
Yeah,
you just got no idea.
But he's right.
You just
though.
got no idea.
You create a culture. It doesn't have a long. Obviously, doesn't have a long history.
Yeah.
But they've created a culture and an expectation, and hopefully, when Bruce is gone and Brady is gone, that they'll have people that carry it on. You hope.
Please, because I can't endure. I saw this scoreboard going around the other day. If you remember, I think you were still in Atlanta. Atlanta Bucs Thursday Night Football, 56-0.
Oh my God. That was the worst. That's the worst game I think I've ever seen a professional team play.
It really was.
Wow, I remember that well.
If you're a Bucs fan, you're a real Bucs fan. If you were there for that one,
that was a massacre. That was the last game of the Raheem era, I believe.
That was Lovie Smith's first year.
Was that Lovie Smith's
2014, the Josh McCown days.
That was bad.
Yeah.
Continue. Different culture now. Just a little bit.
Coach, just for clarity, is Josh Wells okay to go this week? We saw him limping around a little bit.
We'll have to wait and see on that one too. He got a pretty good quad problem, and
he's not.
We just have to wait and see.
It's not.
And Devin White played pretty well. He looked to be all over the place yesterday. Did he just benefit from having those other guys back in the lineup complimenting him?
I think Baden just he wasn't trying to force it. I think when those guys are all out, he thinks he has to make every play and gets caught up in it. But this one just, hey, do your job. And, man, he was all over the field. It's one of his best games.
Yeah, it's amazing how much better he is when he's out there. Need him this week.
Coach, you mentioned yesterday Mike Edwards playing well, but I'm just curious, what is Mike Edwards' specific injury? Is he dealing with a couple things?
He's got a shoulder elbow issue. Got stung pretty good on that one punt protection. But he's tough too, man. He's not going to miss any time. And but Mike had one of his best games too.
Really did.
And I know you guys were dealing with a couple issues at corner going into the game. Carlton Davis at the back, and Jamel Dean was a little bit banged up. Just wondering if those guys came out of the game okay. Any concerns with them moving forward?
No. They got big smiles on their face. That was Jamel Dean's probably best game as a Buck.
Yeah, he played so
Thanks,
well.
Bruce.
So many levels. Very physical. Hadn't seen that.
Bruce, we all know your offense is tailored to throw the football. Yesterday, you passed it 37 times, but you ran it 31 times. Is that just a byproduct of a game-specific type of game plan, or is that the kind of balance that you want to achieve moving forward?
Yeah, you'd love to be 50-50, especially for the first three quarters. Then the fourth quarter dictates, how much you're running it, how much you're throwing it by the score. But I thought we had established the run early.
Yeah.
And it helped a bunch of things in the passing game. But yeah, I love the balance.
And with the running game, does Leonard Fournette or Ronald Jones have a good shot of returning this week?
Again, I'm going to wait and see if Lenny can open up full speed. Rojo still isn't cutting, so we'll know more by Thursday on both those guys.
All right, well, stop it down there, and we'll play the rest a little bit later on, including the controversial comments that I mean, I don't think they're controversial, but I do think they're going to be taken out of context in some ways. And I really don't think Bruce should have. He did mention something about, he was asked about the popping Adams on the helmet. He went candid Bruce, which may not be the best Bruce in this case. But anyway, if somebody will make a big deal of it, actually they already are on Twitter. So we will we'll take a break and we will come back on the other side. And Scott Reynolds is going to join us from the Pewter Reports. Always great to chat with him. Stay with us. 3-minute break. Back in a moment.
Who wants free mobile service? I do, and you can get 30 gigs a month from companies like AT&T Service, T-Mobile. Great service. Keep your number and get free mobile service. It's part of the emergency broadband benefit from the stimulus bill. 87% of America qualifies. So if you think you make too much money or whatever, just go to jpcares.info and find out. It'll take you a few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up.
JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 818. On all those fronts. I've known Fitz for over 30 years. He's done 3 of my mortgages. In fact, Scott has done over 3,000 loans in the Tampa Bay area for many of our coaches, athletes, from Bucs to Bulls. And he can save you big money. AMS is a wholesale broker. They will shop your loan to dozens of banks and let them compete for your business. Quick story, one listener had a done deal with a big national mortgage company who was promising a 2.75 interest rate. Well, when it came time to lock in at 3.25, emailed Scott, got him the actual 2.75, saved him over $3,000 in first-year payments and $2,200 in lender's fees. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on Fan Stream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We're brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. If you have any issues with sinkhole damage, hurricane damage, roof damage, defective stucco, and construction defects, and you want to fight the builders as well as the big insurance companies, well, Chris Palermo is your man. He will do that, has done it for many of his clients, has recovered millions of dollars for them. Let him do it for you. He's handling both residential and commercial cases. Call Chris at 813-221-5636 or PalermoPA.com. That's 813-221-5636. He'll give you a free consultation to tell you if you got a case. Pretty simple. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report. Scotty, how are you this morning?
Good, JP. How are you doing?
It's good. When the Bucs are in the playoffs, all's good with your website and our live stream here. It's good to get Bucs fever going again. And I tell you what, that stadium, I hadn't heard it like that since 2002, brother. It was rocking on Sunday, and I think it was a big reason that defense played with the intensity that they did from the very get-go. Your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. And that was probably, the most complete game we've seen from the Bucs all season. Offense, defense, special teams, all playing really well. And they're going to need that type of effort because, to me, the Los Angeles Rams are this year's New Orleans Saints. I think if they can get by the Rams just as they got by the Saints last year in the divisional round, no less. Of course, that game was in New Orleans. This game is in Tampa. But if they can get by the Rams like their chances against either the Packers in Green Bay, because they did it last year, or the 49ers. But, first things first, they got to contend with the Rams team that looked just as impressive in beating a woeful Cardinals team than the Bucs did beating the Eagles on Sunday.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that game before we move on to the Rams. I thought the no huddle offense, not only the strategy of it, but the way they executed it to perfection almost. I mean, there were a couple of hiccups with some of the young receivers. Bucs got bailed out on a roughing call early on, but I just thought that was a stroke of genius, especially against an Eagles team where they couldn't come up and cover you in press man. And Brady just dictated the tempo of the game and getting up 2 scores. The game was almost over at that point with Philly's lack of passing game.
Yeah, and getting the ball out of his hands quickly, that's certainly going to be the key this week, as it was when the team lost Tristan Wirfs, and not just that, but then Josh Wells suffered a quad injury. Then you've got Ryan Jensen with an ankle injury as well. So the best thing to do to help, an ailing offensive line is for the quarterback to get rid of the ball quickly, right? And not have to have those offensive linemen hold the blocks for 3 or 4 seconds. So I agree. I think the up-tempo offense is something that Tampa Bay should continue to do this week. Brady is an incredibly patient quarterback. I think that's what makes him so good, is just he's willing to get a touchdown on a 10-play drive. It doesn't have to be on a big chunk play. And I think even Bruce Arians, this is a chunk offense. This is an offense that loves the big play, the deep shot. It's predicated on that. But even he and Byron Leftwich know that sometimes the more patient approach is going to be the right approach, especially when they function so well inside the red zone. Tom Brady has yet to throw a red zone interception since he's been in Tampa.
Wow.
So usually when they get down there, it's points, right? It's a touchdown, and at the very least, it's a field goal. It's not going to result in a turnover because Brady is so careful with the football. So to me, I just think that the approach that they had against the Eagles, the up-tempo, the patient approach, take what the defense is giving you, that's going to serve them well against the Rams.
And what do you think? We just get into it at this point, but what do you think the Rams counter with if the Bucs go to that no huddle? Because obviously they have better defensive backs than the Eagles do. I mean, they're better across the board defensively. It's not going to be as easy to do that against. But what you do with that is you keep them in very predictable coverages, right?
Yeah, I think the thing is you're going to see some blitzing because they're going to want to test this offensive line, however it shakes out, whether it's a gimpy Tristan Wirfs out there or Josh Wells, the replacements, or if they have to really shuffle the deck and put Alex Kappa at right tackle and put Aaron Stinney at right guard.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do.
I think you're going to see that in practice a lot this week. So whatever the combination is, you're going to see Raheem Morris, that Rams defense, really come with some pressure and test it. And the Rams are not the greatest blitzing team in the fact that their linebackers get home so much. It's the fact that sometimes when you're blitzing, you're creating one-on-one opportunities across the board.
Right.
So it might not be the Rams linebacker that gets home, but it's freeing up Aaron Donald to have a one-on-one with either Ali Marpet or Aaron Stinney or Ryan Jensen. And then that's really what's causing those situations. And of course, the Rams have got some good linebackers. I mean, Leonard Floyd's no slouch, 9.5 sacks from the left side, and Von Miller had a sack last night from the right side against Donovan Smith. So I think you're going to see Raheem Morris come out and do some early blitzing to kind of probe the Bucs offensive line, see how it reacts, see how well it holds up. But then also, I think you're going to see a lot of 2-man under. I think you're going to see the 2 deep safety looks that the Rams are known for to take away the big play, take away those shots. And then you're probably going to roll some coverage towards Mike Evans, so he's not going to be truly manned up in single coverage. But Tyler Johnson has a hard time creating separation. Brashard Perriman is fast, but he's not like the best route runner. So
right.
I think that some tighter man coverage against those other options might cause Brady to force the ball to Evans, and that might favor the Rams.
Maybe you see a little bit more of Scotty Miller this game because he's better off the line getting open in those quick circumstances. So we shall see. Scott Reynolds joining us here, Pewter Report. Let's flip it a little bit, Scotty, and look at the Bucs defense against Matthew Stafford. He went 27 of 38 for 343 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first game earlier this year. Not a great showing by the Bucs defense. What do they have to do differently to get Matthew Stafford throwing that ball to them?
They got to get pressure, and it's been really hard because this offensive line, it's got 2 massive tackles in Andrew Whitworth, the 40-year-old left tackle. Now he's got a bit of an ankle sprain he played through last night. He got to roll up kind of like Wirfs did in the game. Had to come out for a play or two, but ended up sticking it out. So they're going to have to get some pressure with 4 at times, or I should say with 5. They typically rush 5, but they're also going to have to bring some different looks to try to confuse Stafford a little bit. I mean, he's a veteran quarterback that's seen, I would say he's seen it all, but he's seen a lot. So it's hard to fool that guy. But at the end of the day, if you go back these last 2 games, even when Jared Goff was in Tampa, when the Rams beat the Buccaneers 27-24 in that Monday night game back in 2020, they just couldn't get pressure. You had Shaq Barrett, who has struggled mightily against Rob Havenstein, the right tackle for the Rams. So I would almost be in favor of letting Shaq rush on the right side against Whitworth, who's got an ankle. That's a match I would look for. If I'm Todd Bowles and Larry Foote, the outside linebackers coach, I flip JPP and Shaq. And then I try some blitzes. You've got to do something to get pressure on Matthew Stafford, because if you don't, he will pick you apart. That's what happened in week 3. He threw 4 touchdowns. Now, granted, he doesn't have Deshaun Jackson in this game as he did when Jackson caught 3 passes for 120 yards, including a 75-yard touchdown. But he does have Odell Beckham Jr., so it's probably a better upgrade there. But then they don't have Robert, so their offense is still productive because you have OBJ, got Cooper Kupp, obviously, and Tyler Higbee. That's still really, really good trio of weapons there. The secondary is going to have to step up and play just as good as it did against the Eagles. This is going to be a really interesting game from a chess standpoint. And you know what it took? We kind of drew the parallels right between the Saints and the Rams in the divisional round of the playoffs last year and this year. Well, you know what it took was it took 4 turnovers by the Saints for the Bucs to win in New Orleans. The Bucs won that over 4-0, and yet still only beat the Saints 30-20. So they're going to have to win the turnover margin on Sunday.
No, I think that's huge. You know, I see the way the Bucs win this game is Matthew Stafford making a mistake early on, the crowd getting into it, and make no mistake, the crowd has got to be a huge part of this game. Because I do think Matthew Stafford's a little different quarterback on the road than he is at home. He's not played obviously in a lot of big time playoff games. And just, I think the pressure can get to him a little bit. They didn't ask him to do a lot last night, if you noticed that. He only threw it, 17 times? I think, Sean McVay is like, you know what? If we don't have to, we're going to limit his ability to throw the ball away. But you can't do that against the Buccaneers. You can't against this defense. You're not going to be able to just run it, and control the game in that way and get up big. I don't see that happening. So I think there's going to be a little bit more on Matthew Stafford in this game.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think the Rams are going to really try to come out and establish the running game, because that's just part of what they do. They had some success last night. The Cardinals are not very good against the run, but with Cam Akers back now, it's a nice 1-2 punch with he and Sony Michel. So, I think you're going to see a lot of tight end looks. That's something the Rams like to do is create these 13 personnel fronts and run at them, and try to get those running backs to the perimeter and force those DBs to tackle. Now, that's exactly what happened last week. Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis did a phenomenal job tackling on the perimeter. And you had the safeties come up and fill them. You have Mike Edwards with 9 tackles, and Antoine Winfield, I think, had 5 or 6. Whitehead had 7. So the Bucs did a really good job of taking away the run pretty much anywhere in the field, whether it's in between the tackles or on the perimeter. So I think the Rams are going to come out and do that. Tampa Bay's back 7 has got to play exceptionally well against the run to kind of make the Rams one-dimensional. As crazy as that sounds, but really that's the key to beating That's Matthew Stafford. And the one thing I'll say about the Rams is this is an interesting matchup because the Bucs are 8-1 at home this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rams are 7-2 on the road.
Mm-hmm.
But two of those road losses did come at San Francisco. The 49ers swept them this year,
Mm-hmm.
and they got beat pretty handily, 31-10. Then they also lost up in Green Bay to the Packers. So a lot of their road wins came against lesser teams, and the time they went against more formidable opponents.
Yeah.
The 49ers and the Packers, they lost. So, the Buccaneers are pretty formidable with an 8-1 mark at home.
Yeah, I would agree with that on so many levels. I think, what do you think about this narrative that the Rams could be bullied a little bit, that they can be bullied and pushed around? I mean, the more physical team, the 49ers, I think if you turn on that tape, they got bullied. They bullied the Rams. They ran the ball, and defensively they got after them. And I don't think this Bucs team gets enough credit for being a physical football team. I think we saw it last week. We've seen it through the last couple of years. When this defense gets going, they are as physical as anybody, and I'll challenge anybody in the power running game when we go to the jacked formation because the tight ends are jacked up. I mean, we can. I think the Bucs can impose their will on the Rams on both sides of the football. What do you think about that narrative?
Yeah, I think they can. It's just a matter of doing it. That's really just a big thing. Because we have seen the Saints bully the Buccaneers, right? So it's not like Tampa Bay is invincible. I don't know what type of kryptonite the Saints have with the Buccaneers in the regular season. With or without Sean Payton, holy crap, Sean Payton wasn't even in town last game, and they won 9-0. It was just a crazy, voodoo-esque type game. But yeah, I do think that Tampa Bay, when they're bringing it their A game, and they certainly brought it on Sunday against the Eagles, they can be the bully. And I think that if this game was in Los Angeles, I would not feel good about it. If this game is in Tampa, which it is, I feel much better about it.
Yep.
Just because that home field advantage does make a difference. And let's just hope that by 6:15 on Sunday night, the Rams will really be regretting losing that game in Week 18 to the 49ers because that cost them this game at their place. And are they a team of destiny? Right? They traded for Von Miller. They acquired OBJ. They have gone all in on trying to be the next team to host the Super Bowl this year because it's going to be in LA at their stadium, SoFi Stadium. We'll see. I'll say this: if they do beat the Buccaneers, I think the Rams will be the team of destiny this year. They got to get through Tampa first, and they got to steal the crown from Tom, and that's really hard to do.
And then go to Green Bay and do that with Aaron Rodgers most likely because with the Niners beat up, I don't know if they can if they don't have Bosa or Fred Warner at top speed, I don't know if they can compete with Rodgers in that environment in the cold full stadium. That's going to be tough. And you mentioned
it will be a challenge. And interestingly enough, I'm not trying to throw this scenario out there like I want it to happen, whatever. I'm just saying if for some reason the Rams do get past the Buccaneers and if it is the Rams and the Packers in the NFC Championship game, you've got former Bucs linebackers coach Joe Barry, who's running the Packers defense against Raheem Morris, former Bucs head coach, who's running the Rams defense. So there'll be some Tampa connections in that game. But let's just hope that the Tampa connections are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, either hosting the 49ers or what we most likely would happen would be going back to Lambeau, trying to beat Aaron Rodgers up there one more time.
That's when the Bucs will be regretting that loss to the Washington football team and that last drive. They'll be like, that's what cost them the home field advantage. But I was trying earlier on the podcast. I was trying to encourage Odell Beckham to maybe get in touch with AB. Because really, this is his time. Odell, he's in the spotlight again. This is his time to go full Odell.
Hang out.
Lots of lots of boats out there in LA. Get him, Madonna, yay. They can all go out on the boat week. It would be a good day. Get some social media going. Get lots of come on, Odell. This is your time. Don't let this opportunity slip away. Right? I mean,
hey, stars got to shine, right?
we can hope. Come on, Odell. You want to step. You want to step out. I love it. All right, partner. Tell everybody what's going on at Pewter Report during the playoffs. You guys got tremendous coverage going on. Tell them all about it.
Yeah, check out all the Bucs versus Rams playoff coverage. We got it locked in this week on pewterreport.com. Make sure you're following us, Buccaneer fans, at Pewter Reports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's at Pewter Reports. And we just topped 7,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV. So join the masses and help us grow and get to 10,000. That's our next number. So you can check us out Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, typically at 4 p.m. on our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV, for our Pewter Report podcast. Then on Sundays, we go pregame, in-game, and post-game. So make sure you catch that this Sunday on Pewter Report TV on our YouTube channel.
Great stuff, Scotty. Thanks, buddy. I'll see you later. We'll have a nice chat. Looking forward to it.
Let's do it, man.
All right.
Appreciate Talk to you later.
Great. Scott Reynolds right there. We're going to meet up for a little beer tonight and talk some Buccaneers and business, as we always do. So I tell you what, this is a great time of year just to really enjoy being part of this tournament. You know, with so many years, we just sit around watching these games, thinking about a draft pick. It's so much better to be in the mix. And this game coming up, I mean, we just documented the amount of stars that are going to be on the field. It's not going to be like this Eagles game where, let's just be honest, it wasn't much of a game. This is going to be every play. Look, the Rams are going to make plays. They're going to make plays, and the Bucs are going to have to equal it. It's going to be a tough matchup, but I think the key for me is to get that defense going. The offense will score some points. It won't be as prolific maybe as normally, but that defense has got to get going, get in Matthew Stafford's head, get the crowd going, just make it tough for them, make it a tough environment. I think the crowd is huge this week. So, and we certainly won't have a lot of Rams fans infecting our stadium. I don't think that a lot of people are making the trip. Not that the Rams really don't travel well. You know, they don't even fill up their own stadium. So it's going to be 95% Buck fans, and it's probably going to be as loud as it's ever been. Cannot wait. All right. Before we go, I want to tell you about my good friend Scott Fitzgerald, who is right now getting very busy. If you've been thinking about a refinance or you're thinking about getting a new home, you got to approve first. So reach out to him, Scott at amstampa.com. He told us the other day the rates are going up. He said they should be in the 5s right now by all the other economic indicators, but they're still in the mid 3s. So they're going to go up. If you're thinking about refi, find out how much is in your home. Now, to do that, you got to get an appraisal, right? And that's going to cost you $500 to $700. Scott's going to pay for that. He's going to pay for your appraisal. So why not find out what your house is really worth? Start the process with him. Makes it really, really easy for you. He shops your mortgage to dozens and dozens of companies. You're not just with one company and you got to take their rate. You don't have to do that. Let him shop it around. And he also doesn't charge all those big upfront fees. There's places out there that they say they'll pay your closing costs, but there's other fees involved. So, you know, if you want to do it the best way and the most inexpensive way, Scott and American Mortgage Services is the way to go. So just reach out to him, Scott at AMS Tampa. Do it now. Lock in your rate. Doesn't mean you have to do anything. But this way you'll be able to get the numbers, see how much you can pull out of your house. He can help you paying off some of those other credit cards and maybe a car loan to make your entire financial picture look really, really good. He's passionate about it, and he does a great job. So reach out to Scott at amstampa.com. All right, quick break. When we come back, we'll hit that Bruce Arians comment in yesterday's press conference that I hope doesn't give him an issue, but might just. Stay with us. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course in Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth. Wow, the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com.
greenleaftitle.com. Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now. So go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo Closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set up the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. Will close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com. Who wants free mobile service? I do. And you can get 30 gigs a month from companies like AT&T service, T-Mobile. Great service. Keep your number and get free mobile service. It's part of the emergency broadband benefit from the stimulus bill. 87% of America qualifies. So if you think you make too much money or whatever, just go to jpcares.info and find out. It'll take a few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. We'll get to that Bruce Arians comment in just a second. Want to remind you that the good folks at Italiano Insurance, it's the new year, folks, and you can do your insurance checkup right now. Think how much money you spend every year on insurance, right? With auto insurance, homeowners insurance, all those things, right? Different disability insurance you don't have, you really, really need it. And it's not that expensive either. So call the good folks at Italiano Insurance. Do that insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. This is a really good way to save yourself thousands of dollars, because think about this. It's not just what you make, folks. It's what you keep. And if you're not spending it on insurance and still getting the same amount of insurance, just money in your pocket, right? And this is something that Italiano does so well, because they shop all these different companies who are always changing their rates to get better, to get more people to come in, right? So use that to your advantage and let them do all the work. You don't have to go online and call 16 different companies. They do that for you. So why not do it? Just call them at 813-877-7799. Say, hey, I want to do the insurance checkup that JP was talking about. Make sure you mention my name. They'll give you a really good service. And you'll actually talk to a human being. It's going to be one of the voicemail hells, and they'll say, okay, here's what we need. And you kind of just send them your policy information. It takes, 15, 20 minutes to do all this stuff. And then they shop it all for you. And they'll look back and say, all right, we can save you this much on homeowners. We can save you this much on auto. We can save this much on disability. Maybe look at a long-term care policy, something like this. And that's really the way you save a lot of money. That money goes right into your pocket. So use it for Bucs playoff tickets. It's a great idea. So give them a call at 813-877-7799. It's good folks at Italiano Insurance, another local company. Keep that money local, and they'll do a great job for you. You can also find them at italianoinsurance.com. All right, so we're going to get to this at the top of the 11. I believe my former boss, Mole over at 620, they had Ken Hague on this morning. We had Ken on a couple months ago, and he basically said what he said on our show 2 months ago. So if you ever want to be ahead of the curve, folks, you know where to go. But what Johnny put out a tweet that is getting a lot of pushback, as well it should. But look, they're the mouthpiece of the Rays, folks. You're not going to get it. You don't think they're all in on the Sister City plan? Of course they are. So we'll talk about that at the top of the hour. I wanted this quote from Bruce Arians, which I hope does not cause a ton of issues, but it just might. This goes back to the situation on the field where Bruce came on the field, kind of tapped, Adams on the head when he was trying to pull people off the pile. It's kind of an emotional moment, but he was asked about it yesterday.
Extremely well.
Thank you.
I think this is the one.
We'll go to Jenna.
Hey, Coach. I think you briefly touched on this last night. Your interaction with Andrew Adams. I know you kind of swatted at his helmet and all there. Can you just kind of take us through that? And was it regrettable at all for you, the fact that you actually made contact with his helmet?
No. And I've seen enough dumb. You can't pull guys out of a pile. We just got a big play, great field position. and he's trying to pull a guy out of a pile, and I was trying to knock him off that guy so he didn't get a penalty.
Stop right there. Look, I know what Bruce was trying to do, and 10 years ago, it's not an issue. He didn't whack the guy in the head. He tapped him on his helmet. Exactly what he was trying to do. But you have people out there like Antonio Brown's agent, who's Sean Burston, I think is his name. He's out there on Twitter. Our old friend Jameis 1 of 1, which I'm very disappointed in him doing this, but he's trying to further his narrative of Bruce Arians, the bad guy, and he treated James poorly, which we disagree on. And so this is exactly the type of stuff that's going to make the rounds on social media. It's a great divisive issue because it's a black player and an older white coach. I'm just talking as a media observer. These are the things that the media seizes upon to divide us constantly. And I hate to say this, Bruce, but as your PR director, you fed into that. This is not a good look for you. I agree with you. It's your thought process is right, but in this day and age, if you don't want to bring the weight of the world down upon you, you don't answer the question that way. And I appreciate him being candid, and it's I get it, but you're just feeding to it at this point, and they'll use that against you. And they'll take it out of context, and it's not a good look. I'm sorry. This is what the media machine is doing these days, and it sucks. But this is exactly the type of things they like to seize on: an old white guy hitting a younger black guy, tapping him on the helmet, and make it out. And they can use all these elements, including your answer, to make it look really, really bad. I hope it doesn't blow up. But in this day and age, and this week where everybody's looking for stories, I'm fearful.
I mean, I didn't even see it in the game when it happened. I didn't see it, and I didn't see really the pushback until yesterday. It just floated on my timeline somewhere. And then I started doing, you brought it up to me, I started looking around, and I'm seeing there is a lot of pushback on it. And people are using the argument, well, he did this right in front of us. What does he do behind closed doors? I think that it's a fine line. I get it. I think it's a stretch. I think we all know who Bruce Arians is. His players know who he is. Everybody that works in football knows who he is. And I just feel like, just like with the whole AB situation, when people attacked him, I feel like he's one of the last guys that you could judge character on.
And these are the same people that are coming after Bruce are the same people that supported Antonio Brown when he lied about the conversation that happened on the field. It continues to lie, and people still continue to go after Bruce for that, which is amazing. And people still give AB credibility in this situation. And these are people that ignore the facts and just want to divide people. And they use these things to divide us. But when you intentionally throw gas on the fire, you're not helping the situation. So, I mean, I understand where Bruce is going, and he wants to, but it doesn't help because they take all these things out of context. And, everybody most people who don't even know who Bruce Arians is, they'll show the play, they'll show his answer, and they'll say, here's another old white guy, abusing a young black player like he did with Antonio Brown and blah, 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 blah. And people don't know the facts that he's the one that employs more minorities and females than anybody in this organization does, than anybody in football, has done more to progress African-American coaches to be head coaches than anybody in football. He's clearly not a racist in any way, shape, or form, but nobody knows the history of him. They're just going to go with this and use it as a divisive force. I know how the media works. This is one of their number one playbooks, is to divide people on these issues without context. ESPN does it all the time. It's their number one issue.
I did want to ask you about this, though, because there's also people talking about this. Based on what Antonio Brown said about being, quote unquote, forced to go in, he put Tristan Wirfs back in the game
right
after the injury.
Right.
Kind of the same thing with Josh Wells, I guess, a little bit. And a lot of people are using that as, cannon fire towards him as well. I mean, you think there's any credence to that?
Well, we have to understand that head coaches don't decide who goes back into the game. People act like Bruce Arians is walking over to him and going, "You're going back into the game." That's not how it works. The trainer comes to the coach and he says, Josh Wells wants to give it a go. He wants to give it a go. Do you think Bruce Arians is like on the side, like going, "Well, let me see the MRI. Let's get a look at the tissue sample to make sure he's not injured. I got to make a decision. No, that's not how it works. The trainers work the guy out while Bruce. You see it on the sidelines. They were trying to work him out to see if he can go. And folks, these are black and white issues. I mean, when I saw Ryan Jensen going down, I'm like, he ain't going back in the game. But he went back in and he played. And he played pretty damn well. Tristan couldn't go. These are not black and white situations. They're very, very gray areas. And most of the time, the doctors are relying on the players' feedback to be able to make a decision. Now, they'll take him back into the room and get an x-ray, but they don't have an MRI machine inside where they can, look at an MRI in 20 seconds, and they could do that with x-rays, but they just don't know. They have to get their best test. And the head coach is not involved in this conversation whatsoever. The coach says, is Tristan going back in or is he not going back in? So understand how it works, folks, which a lot of people don't.
Spot on.
All right, we'll take a break. TJ Rives coming up at 11:15. We'll chat with him. And we're going to get into the stadium issue. Ken Hagan went on 620 this morning. And now, of course, they're putting out the Stu Sternberg talking points. So we'll easily defeat those narratives when we come back. Attention home buyers or refinance candidates. It is a great time to purchase or refinance. Home values are going through the roof right now. You've got so much equity. Time to tap into that equity, get the cash, and make sure you're making the right financial decisions in your life. Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services in Tampa can help you out on all those fronts. I've known Fitz for over 30 years. He's done 3 of my mortgages. In fact, Scott has done over 3,000 loans in the Tampa Bay area for many of our coaches, athletes, from Bucs to Bulls. And he can save you big money. AMS is a wholesale broker. They will shop your loan to dozens of banks and let them compete for your business. Quick story, one listener had a done deal with a big national mortgage company, was promising a 2.75 interest rate. Well, when it came time to lock in, it was 3.25. Emailed Scott, got him the actual 2.75, saved him over $3,000 in first-year payments and $2,200 in lender's fees. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636, or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian, graduate of Jesuit High School and the University of Florida, and he cares deeply about you and the community. That's 221-5636 or PalermoPA.com.
Who wants free mobile service? I do, and you can get 30 gigs a month from companies like AT&T Service, T-Mobile. Great service. Keep your number and get free mobile service. It's part of the emergency broadband benefit from the stimulus bill. 87% of America qualifies. So if you think you make too much money or whatever, just go to jpcares.info and find out. It'll take you a few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. The second hour of the JP Peterson Show with TJ Rives, coming up here in moments, is brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center and Dr. Christopher Lugo, who is a tremendous doctor that will do personalized medicine the way it is supposed to be done. Folks, if you're looking for a new general practitioner to kind of guide you through your health care, and it's never been more important than it is today, Dr. Christopher Lugo is the way to go. Everything is personalized. It's not a one size fits all. Go write a script and this will take care of you. No, he talks to you about living a healthy lifestyle, the right supplements. If you need testosterone therapy, they monitor it not only for what benefits it gives you physiologically, but also emotionally. You'll hear so many testosterone clinics talk about just the physical part of it, but the emotional part of hormone therapy is very, very important as well, your mental side. So this is a total body approach, mind, body, and soul, and it's the way to go. It's the future of medicine. So we that's why they call it Bay Area Modern Medical Center. So BAMMC is the website.com, BAMMC.com, and we'll have more on Dr. Christopher Lugo as we go through the next few weeks. Is one of our new sponsors. Really glad to have him on board. All right. So my former employer, 620 WDAE, John Mamola, my former program director, who I'm still friendly with. Obviously, this is nothing personal, but I love it because they had Ken Hagan on their show earlier today. We had Ken Hagan on a couple of months ago and said basically what he said this morning, that there's going to be a plan for, of course, they didn't mention this because they don't have this information. There's going to be a half season and a full season plan that is presented to the Rays. And the half season plan is basically going to say the numbers are unworkable. It doesn't work for us. We'll put in a little bit of money, but not nearly as much as a full season, which is obvious. And it's going to be much more of an incentive-laden opportunity for not only the Rays, but for Major League Baseball to finally solve stadium this year. And I've said it all along, this is not just Stu's decision. Major League Baseball will soon see, if they haven't realized this already, and I think they have, that this is not a Tampa Bay corporate support issue. It's not a Tampa Bay governmental issue. The government here is more than happy to work with the Rays, wants to keep the Rays, but they have to do in something that's fair to the citizens, and a half split is fair to the citizens. They pay half, the public pays half, and they do it not with general fund money, but there's taxes and user fee money, the taxing districts, etc. But this is what John wrote. He said, listening to Ken Hagan's interview this morning, I love how the city of Tampa is building proposals for not only a full season, but also a half season. So if the city of Tampa can plan for it, prepare for it, and welcome the idea, why shouldn't we? Well, first of all, they're not welcoming the idea. They're only putting out these two proposals because that's what the Rays asked for. Okay, so understand what the process is. Just because they're putting out a proposal doesn't mean they're necessarily open to funding half the stadium. And do you think Stu Sternberg's going to jump on a new stadium if he has to pay 80 or 90% of the stadium for his two-city plan? I doubt it. He continues, said, the old saying is never judge a book by its cover. See the plan for both full and half seasons first, then make a judgment on it. That's how I'm approaching it, in my opinion. Let me see it first, then I'll judge it, because a closed mind is a dying mind. Well, I can tell you that the half-season plan is not going to be palatable to anybody, not to Stu Sternberg, not to the fans, not to the political, the political folks, because you're going to see that it's not much money. And it doesn't work for a half season, which should be obvious to everyone. But it's also obvious that this is the Rays station. This is going to be their tack. They're not going to tell how the Rays are lying about these narratives that they're putting out about a sister city plan. And by the way, if they have some analysis and data that shows that this is not a workable market, as opposed to the things that they've said in the past, that it's very workable, I'd like to see it. I haven't seen it. I mean, they do all these presentations. Where's the data? Do you have fan polls that fans support the sister city plan? No, you don't, because they don't in either place. We've gone over this so many times. Up in Montreal, there's certainly no momentum from a political standpoint for them to spend money on a stadium. Excuse me, folks. Got a little tickle in my throat there. They don't have any, they're not looking at this as something they want to spend a lot of money on, certainly not half. And the fans up there, only 46% of them said they're going to go to a baseball game if they do get the Expos back, which, by the way, is what they want to call them. The Expos /Rays is what they call them up there. And as far as the sister city plan, 60% of the people polled by the paper up there. I don't know why our paper hasn't done a controlled study. Actually, I think they have, but they won't put the results out there because they know the people overwhelmingly hate the sister city plan. 60% say they don't want a sister city plan. So nobody is in favor of this except Stu and his henchmen. And all the business people that signed on to that letter, folks, know this. It was presented to them at either half season or nothing at all. And they felt like they were supporting Tampa Bay by saying, well, if it's gonna leave, we'd rather take half a season. That's a false choice. It's a false choice, and it always has been, because Major League Baseball does not want to leave this market. And if Major League Baseball and the owners see that the municipality here is going to pay for half a stadium and do all these things for the Rays, they're going to tell Stu Sternberg to get off his big fat $500 million wallet that he has in the bank, allegedly from the lawsuit, and make it happen. Because then they don't have to give him revenue sharing money anymore. See how that works? Major League Baseball does not want to leave this market. And they also don't want to take up an expansion market in Montreal and just give it to and screw the Toronto Blue Jays and owners doing something that's never been done before. And the Players Association doesn't want it. So you can keep an open mind, Johnny, and that's fine. I get it. Keep an open mind like the Rays told you to do, but it's not going to work. It doesn't work. It's a bad idea. It's all about Stu. And if you want to support it, go ahead. But many of us are not. So if you'd like to join us at the rally, though, which will probably take place, we're looking probably at the first Saturday in March. We would love to have you. So come on over. We'll take a break. When we come back, TJ Reeves, Bucs sideline guy, is going to join us. We'll talk about the big playoff win on Sunday and look ahead to the Rams. Stay with us.
JP, Santa, and young Saint Nick. Get us right over here. My partner for the Gold and Diamond Source. You hear that? Christmas music. It's Christmas time. You just popped a question to your lady from the Gold and Diamond Source diamond that you got.
Yes, I did. The Gold and Diamond Source, the best place to go get your diamond for an engagement. They helped me out so much. They were so courteous to me for somebody who was so nervous. And it's Christmas time, like you said. If you're thinking about popping the question, you need to go to the Gold and Diamond Source.
It's the Jewelry Super Center, fully stocked, fully staffed, and yes, just a short drive from downtown Tampa or wherever you're coming from, right there on Ulmerton Road. Avoid the madness at the malls. And whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for that 10-carat custom design, they have it all. 9 jewelers in-house ready to make your dreams come true. Even layaways, 100% interest-free financing up to 5 years. Shop now for your best selection at the Gold and Diamond Source and make your lady wonderfully happy like Nick did. That's absolutely. Shop anytime online at thegoldanddiamond.com.
The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course in Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth. Wow, the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com.
Well, it's never been more important to support each other and support local businesses like Italiano Insurance that has been around for over 60 years, serving our community with great customer service and also giving back to our locals in need. Their Metropolitan Ministries Holiday Food Drive was another tremendous success this year. Why call a 1-800 number when you can call your trusted neighbors at Italiano Insurance who will amstampa.com. Scott at amstampa.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Second hour brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Centers and Dr. Christopher Lugo. Go to BAMC for more information. All right, the great TJ Reves, Bucs sideline guy, joining us now. Boy, I tell you what, partner. You know, I'm sitting up there in the nice confines of the press box, but of course it's hermetically sealed. And you could still hear the roar of the crowd. What did it sound like down there on field level, like 2002?
First of all, great to be with you. And I heard you yesterday on the show saying that. And I think I'm confirming this. Again, I don't have pleasant memories from the 2 playoff losses to the Giants and to the Redskins. So I don't remember a lot of cheering in either of those playoff losses in January of 2008 or January of 2006. Not nearly like 2002. And remember that year, I know you know this, that year we only got the one home game with the 49ers, and it was bonkers that day in that stadium. So, excuse me, forgive me. The thing about Sunday, thank you. The thing about Sunday was they were loud at the beginning and at the exact right time. And battle flags were a big deal. I don't know how well you could hear this in the press box, but when Tom Brady did the end to the whole video montage, bring the team out on the field, here's the coin toss, let's get ready for the kick. You know, they do the whole animation thing with the pirate ship, and the end of that was Tom Brady saying, now pick up those battle flags and let's bleeping go. And I went, okay, it is a different day here at Raymond James Stadium with full capacity. You're absolutely right.
I forgot about that. That was so good. By the way, they bleeped out the effing, but you could read his lips.
Yes,
right?
they did. We knew what he meant. Yes.
That was just brilliant. That was just freaking brilliant. And I loved it. And the play bonkers. But I tell you what, that first defensive third down where Winfield, and I think it was Winfield or Whitehead and Devin White made themselves a little nice Jalen Hurts sandwich. That place, it was like it exploded. It just exploded. I'm like, wow.
Yes.
That was
electric.
Yes. And then they got to bring that this week, man. I'm telling you, the crowd can make all the difference this week against Rams.
And you saw it several different times, not just in Tampa, but you saw it with the Buffalo properly lathered up crowd Saturday night all over. You know, Mac Jones is a rookie. You saw it with the Chiefs and Arrowhead Sunday night against the Steelers once they got up, and you even saw it last night with the Rams and that loud environment. Of course, the PA system is so loud at SoFi Stadium that you can hear it in San Diego and in Arizona.
Right.
So that's part of their artificial what
Yes.
they're doing. But this is what you have fought for. This is what you earned by winning on the final day of the season and having the 49ers give you the gift of beating the Rams. You earned the second playoff game like we kept talking about for weeks. So now if you're the Bucs fans, be there early and be there loud from the very beginning of the game. You can greatly affect what's going to happen early on in the game from a noise standpoint, them not being able to hear, rattling them, etc. That's what a home field advantage is. Take advantage of it. I agree.
Absolutely. What did it look like from field level, just in terms of the intensity of the defense? I thought it just shot up a couple of notches, and I don't know if that was Levante being back or what have you, but to me, it's just kind of like this. A lot of these guys are veterans. They know when to turn it on and when to turn it off, and because you got to survive a season, right? That defense looked like they were shot out of a cannon, and that's kind of what we saw last year, right, in the playoffs. The intensity level of this defense.
I agree. And let's hope it continues. And I think they were energized by having Levante David, Shaq Barrett, and JPP back. And even taught the players the game. They said the same thing, that the pep in the step, practice, meeting room, and all of that was there. And they know what's on the line. This is a chance for history and a chance to become only the second team this century to do this twice in a row. And I think we now see, and we did not have Sean Murphy-Bunting back there as the third of those three defensive backs with Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean, but you do have a healthy Whitehead, a healthy Winfield at safety with Davis, with Dean. that is changing some of what Todd Bowles' schemes and blitz calls are because of his confidence level with those guys. And you brought this point up, and I think others have brought it up. We kind of talked about it on your show over the last couple of weeks. You have been saving things. We talked about it yesterday.
Yeah.
You've been saving things for the end of the year, saving the guys' blitzes for the end of the year in the playoffs, working on things the week of these playoff games, and rolling them out that you haven't shown yet. And so that's what I look forward to. I mean, a perfect example of that is I think they baited Jalen Hurts, obviously, into that interception in the third quarter with Shaq Barrett dropping into coverage. They had seen that look from the Eagles. They had shown a certain look defensively before, and then all of a sudden Shaq Barrett's in a spot where he's not normally supposed to be. That is coaching. That is game plan. That is next-level chess, point and counterpoint, and that's why Barrett's there to make the great leaping interception. And I think we can officially confirm on the show his knee must be fine to be able to leap like that and then run around like that. That looked great.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. That brace is not hurting him at all. All right, so let's kind of cycle into one more question about this particular game. We talked about it yesterday, the no huddle and the tempo of which they were going. Did it seem to you that Philadelphia was just taken aback by that? Like they weren't able to huddle up. They had to go into very vanilla coverages. The second drive, it looked like they were gassed at that particular point. How much did that affect the Eagles defense, that great execution and the strategy of the no huddle up tempo?
The key word you said and all that is the execution of it. Because it's great that you have the concept, but if you're not able to convert on third down, you're not able to sustain a drive and or score a touchdown, then it did not accomplish what you wanted. And the biggest thing with this, again, and we'll see how much they use it or don't use it against the Rams coming up, is part of that motivation is keep the same personnel on the field. Do not allow them to substitute situationally. And we as the offense, we have 3 or 4 things that we want to do right in a row here with the same personnel. Don't let them bring in a different defensive lineman or an extra defensive back for whatever the situation is. And I think that is, again, that is something that you can't roll out every game and you can't roll it out series after series, but it was great to see. And I think clearly the Eagles were rattled.
Yes.
And when the Bucs got the opening drive and eventually got the ball back again and scored again and are suddenly up 14-0 with the crowd all over them, that's a completely different game. It was not over at that point, but it was on its way to being over. And then obviously once we got to the third quarter and they put it in a couple of more times, it's a blowout. Yeah. And I know they dressed it up at the end, but they got blown out on Sunday. And I know there were a lot of Buccaneer fans that were enjoying it there in the stadium, enjoying it Sunday night, and are still enjoying it. And you should be enjoying it. That's what playoff wins should do. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the key. You know, the Rams, I think, are a lot like the Buccaneers. You know, they've got star players all over the field. By the way, we were trying to count up the future Hall of Famers that are going to be on the field this Sunday at 3:00. I think there might be close to 10, which is unusual. So there's going to be a lot of talent on the field. You look at the coaching matchup. You know, here's a great story too. And Sean McVay, who got his coaching start where? Right here with the Buccaneers under John Gruden. You know, he's got his uncle Jim runs the Outback Bowl, right? So he's got a lot of Tampa ties. But you know, and Sal Palantonio, I think, really detailed what an unbelievable coaching staff we have here. The talent on this Bucs coaching staff is so deep. And I think I think it's an advantage this week. I'm not saying Sean McVay isn't a great coach. I think he is. But, you know, if in terms of playoff success and what the Bucs have done, McVay hasn't done that. And I think it's going to be a big part of this game. Your thoughts?
You know, I heard that conversation with him yesterday, and the word that I'm thinking of, it's unwanted, is distraction. It is also a distraction as much as you don't want it. You want it for them to be head coaches. But when Todd Bowles is going to interview for a couple of these jobs, I know it's going to be on Friday and Saturday morning before the game on Sunday. That's still just something extra. It comes with the territory. And the same for Byron Leftwich. And I know Bruce Arians keeps touting that Harold Goodwin should also get a look as their run game coordinator, their assistant head coach, that he should get a look at some point too, possibly as a head coach. And there's another name, and we have much love for Raheem, Coach Ra. Raheem Morris, as the defensive coordinator, now makes a return to Tampa, and he would love nothing better than against his old team to find a way to get the Rams into the NFC Championship game with an upset win. It was fun watching Raheem last night in that playoff game. He was into it there against the Cardinals with some of those defensive calls and his defensive guys, and great on him because Raheem obviously was the interim coach at the end of last year for Atlanta, and they were playing hard, and I believe he's going to get another shot, and Raheem may even get a shot in this coaching cycle too as a head coach with previous experience, been on winning staffs in Tampa Bay and now in Los Angeles. Raheem may very well get a shot as well, and he might be doing a couple of interviews this weekend.
Ooh,
the same kind of scenario.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. And I think he does deserve a shot. I'll be interested to see what Raheem does second time around. He was just so young and so inexperienced. That whole time with the Bucs was, it was interesting to say the least.
The interesting thing about him being the interim coach at the end last year is you listen to Matt Ryan, and you listen to Julio Jones, and even the offensive guys, and they talked about the command that he had of the room, of the game plan, and they won some games at the end of the year. So I think Raheem has learned from it. He's learned from being around Sean McVay for this year, being head coach and all the responsibilities and all the different things that you have to do. So we hope he has a long Sunday on Sunday. We hope the Bucs dial it up with Tom Brady and put it on him on Sunday, and it's going to be fun. It's another intriguing subplot to this game. You do realize the spookiness of what's going on right now on the JP show on FanStream Sports. I'm not saying my interview is spooky, although the audience can judge for that. But the fact that in 1979, the Buccaneers beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's right.
And then the following week, it was the NFC Championship game. Had to play who? Had to play the LA Rams.
That's right. And Vince Ferragamo and company.
And by the way, the Super Bowl was looming where? In Los Angeles at the Rose Bowl.
I did not
know that. Now we come around 42 years later, and the Bucs beat the Eagles to get the right to host the Rams with the Super Bowl looming where? In Los Angeles. That is spooky. That is a little spooky. I just thought I would put that out there.
Might be a little detour into Green Bay. Although, if somehow the 49ers can beat Green Bay, where's the NFC Championship game? Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay.
I'm telling you this right now. I don't know what's going to happen Saturday night. I don't know what San Francisco has left emotionally, blah, blah, blah. If they find a way to win that game on Saturday night at Lambeau, the Buccaneers ought to petition the NFL. We want to play at 8 a.m. We want to play right now. We want to win right now to host the NFC Championship game. Forget about the scheduled start time. Let's do this now and go. I don't know how you're going to be able to contain yourself with a chance to win and host if that's what comes to it. So let's find out. We'll go in steps. We'll see. You never know in the playoffs.
That's right. And I can hear Tom Brady right now. Pick up your battle flags and let's fucking go. Let's go. Yes, absolutely. Gosh, that place will be up for grabs. We never obviously that was the NFC Championship game that 42 years ago, right?
Correct. 1979. And I will say this. If you go, we were not around. I had not moved here as of yet with my family. You were not around as of yet in the market.
No.
For those, and I know a lot of people that were there for those playoff games. I was talking to one of them on Sunday up in the press box, and they talked about electric again in Tampa Stadium. Here's the cool thing: YouTube has that entire game. Just search Buccaneers Rams 1979 NFC Championship. The full game is there. Watch at the beginning on CBS where Pat Summerall and Tom Brookshire is the analyst. This is pre-John Madden.
Yes.
Pat Summerall says when the Buccaneers came running on the field, he goes, "That is the loudest din of noise I have ever heard at an NFL game." That is what he says about Tampa Stadium. He says, "This is incredible atmosphere." I'm paraphrasing what he says. He says, "That's the loudest din and roar I have ever heard at an NFL stadium." When they came on the field. Unfortunately, Leroy and Batman Wood and all of those guys on the defense, Cecil Johnson, all of them, they did their job and slowed the Rams down. The Bucs just could not muster anything and could not score a point, and Doug Williams ended up getting hurt in the game. But again, you can relive the game on YouTube. It's sitting right there. And that was the atmosphere in 79 for that game. Let's replicate it with the Rams coming back in here for a playoff game Sunday.
That would be so much fun. TJ Reeves, Bucs sideline guy, joining us here All right, we got to talk about the Bucs injuries on the offensive line. Listen, nobody knows what's going on with Tristan Wirfs. It's obviously it's an ankle injury. You don't know how severe it is, but having watched a lot of football and watched guys try to get back out there, I mean, you saw Ryan Jensen go out and play on it. So I have some feeling of confidence that he's going to play, but he's not going to be 100%. And you'd like to be against Aaron Donald, that's for sure. But Wirfs, I don't think that's going to be. I don't think he's going to play personally, but I don't know. Nobody knows. This guy's a physical freak, right? He's jumping out of pools, so who knows? But if they do have to go with Kappa at tackle, I think this would be the best way to go. Move Kappa to right tackle because Josh Wells is hurt as well, and Stinney played great at right guard in the playoffs last year. I think that's the way the Bucs would go. What are your thoughts?
So, again, we're not doctors, as we like to joke. We're just playing them on FanStream Sports here. Who knows if it is a high ankle sprain, which is what Bruce Arians said yesterday. That's usually at least a 2 or 3 week injury. And you weigh, okay, if he tries to play, 2 things. If he tries to play and he's half the player that he normally is, that's almost doing you a disservice. That's almost you can't game plan around that. You're going to have to put extra blockers over there to help him. You're probably going to have to put extra blockers over there to help whomever you're playing right now anyway. But the other thing is, okay, he gets out there, he tries it, he can't play. Well, now you have one less active offensive lineman if injuries start happening. So that's the real thing that you have to hone in on is the risk of if he tries it and he tries it, for 2 or 3 plays or a series and can't go, and it's obviously can't go, you burned a roster spot. So we'll see as the week goes on what they say, and they may rule him out fairly quickly. I don't know. I don't have any insight on that, but they may just say he can't go on that ankle. We hope we can get it done, and he can be back next week. Great young man. Tristan Wirfs is a fantastic young man and has had a heck of a season, and you just hate that happened for him in this game this past week. So injuries have been all over the place for this team. I will say this, though, right back in response. If you watch the Rams game, it was eerie. Here's that word again, spooky. Right away, Whitworth, the fantastic 40-year-old tackle, he got hurt like on the second play of the game last night, just like Tristan Wirfs, and went out. So he's banged up. They lost more guys in their secondary again last night. Stafford is limping around with an injured foot for whatever that's worth. So they're not exactly the picture of health coming to Tampa on Sunday.
It's great points. All TJ Reeves spitting the knowledge right here. All right. As you look at this match right now, and you were there for the first game, it's a 3-point spread, which is basically what odds makers give you for the home field. I mean, I just think this is going to be as good as it gets in terms of playoff football. 2 very evenly matched teams, but matchups are everything, right? And in the first matchup, they got the best of the Bucs. There's no question about it. We had a hard time covering Cooper Kupp. Had a hard time stopping Matthew Stafford, who had his best game, 27-38, 343 and 4 tutties. How do the Bucs fix that? And I think, Todd Bowles will certainly come up with a masterful game plan. I think the defense is probably as healthy as it's been all year.
I think you have to start with what kind of pressure can you get on Matt Stafford to make him make the early bad throw. And when you go back, and I'm going to go back and watch some of it again, but when you go back and watch that game, he made an errant bad throw early, like on the first drive, right to Jamel Dean. And Jamel has had an issue this year of not hanging on to the ball. We saw it again Sunday. It would have been a difficult catch, but the ball's dangling right there on a deflection to catch the ball. Jamel had this one thrown right to him and did not come up with it. And if he comes up with that early in the game, maybe takes it to the house or at least takes it inside the 20 or inside the 10 and you score an early touchdown, that is a completely different beginning. It's not the whole game, but it's a completely different one. And Stafford is the type of quarterback in these situations that will throw the ball to you. So I think it begins right there with, can you make him make a mistake early in this game that rattles him on the road with the loud crowd, et cetera. So let's see if the Buccaneer defense is able to rise to that, put the pressure on him. He's thrown some interceptions early on in some games, and we'll see if that is the case. Maybe Sunday that you can get one off of him and start the momentum. I do know this. When you go back to the 0-2 game against the 49ers, the divisional game, the loud crowd, There was a play early in that game where Jeff Garcia was throwing over the middle to Terrell Owens, and I think it was Derek Brooks that hit Owens.
Oh, yes.
I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not sure who hit him, and maybe Brooks came up with the ball. When that interception happened, and the Bucs were already up, I think 7-0 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
When that happened, it was almost like, okay, you have now psychologically delivered a knockout blow on Garcia and company, even though it's the first half. So fast forward, I don't know that is what's going to happen Sunday, but if you can get something similar like that to happen Sunday, that is advantage. BUCCANEERS, go Bucs.
I 100% agree. I think much like last year's playoffs, the defense is going to be a huge key to this, and the crowd. And that's exactly as you just laid it out there. That's how the Bucs in this game, getting that defense going, get a big turnover early, and just make it an oppressive environment for Matthew Stafford to operate in. And I think that's why the fans, you can be the 12th man this week. I think it's going to be extremely important for them to get there early. 3:00's a nice. You can get nice and juiced up in the parking lot. 1:00 can get a little early. An extra 2 hours of hooch punch for our crowd. Forget about it. It's going to be up for grabs. Have you seen a weather report yet?
I saw, and again, we do our best, and we love these guys that do the weather here in the market. But they're the first ones to admit they don't get this right even a couple of days out. Right. So let's wait until Friday. I saw the extended forecast says lots of rain Saturday, and then some rain possible on Sunday, and a high around 62, something like that Sunday. Again, that could change by the time we get to Friday.
Like
it may be different. Yes, exactly. Because all we heard last week is, it's going to rain throughout the game.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. As it turned out, the wrath of God, as I like to say, thunderstorms all rolled through at 6 a.m. And wasn't that enjoyable when all of us got the alerts for the tornado warnings up here in northern Hillsborough County on our phones at 6 a.m. I was only hoping that the Eagles got that same alert in the hotel room to wake them up. We all had to get woken up by that.
Absolutely. All right, partner, tell everybody how they can get the great TJ Reeves content and the All Bucs podcast.
If you choose to relive that win over the Eagles, and why wouldn't you, in the wild card weekend playoff round, go to the Nothing But Bucs podcast, the official Buccaneer recap podcast through the website, through the Buccaneers mobile app. It's also on Apple or Spotify. Nothing But Bucs. It's got all the radio calls from Gene and Dave. We've got the post-game interviews with Bruce Arians, with Mike Evans. Mike revealed on the post-game show about that front flip and why he did the front flip. So we talked about him, talked to him about that and all of that. So there's a tease for you. Go find Nothing But Bucs off the Buccaneers mobile app or wherever you get podcasts, and relive the Eagles win, and relive it a couple of times if you would like, because we officially, figuratively own their house, have the deed to their car, the rights to their firstborn, and anything else, last will and testament. We officially own the Eagles right about now.
I think they're
pipe down, Eagle fan.
I think they're right behind Boston as on our bitch list. Boston is clearly our bitch, and Philadelphia not far behind. All right, my friend, always good stuff. We'll chat with you. We'll chat with you next week after another Bucs win.
Let's keep winning playoff games, and I look forward to being. I look forward to being back on FanStream, JP, to be talking about the NFC title game. Are you kidding me?
Hosting.
It's a date.
Hosting.
Let's do it.
All right, so you don't have to go to Green Bay. Thanks, DJ. Appreciate it. All right, before we take a break, I want to remind you our second hour of the JP Peterson Show is brought to you by the Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Dr. Christopher Lugo, a very different kind of approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Proactive and looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Never before has it been more important to be in shape and be healthy when and if a virus does come around. And we've seen how important that is during COVID. And as many of you know, you go to a doctor and they rush you into a place. He comes in, talks to you about 5 minutes, writes you a script, and you're out of there. That's not the way they handle things. It's very personal at Bay Area Modern Medical. And if you're into the anti-aging regenerative medicine, as I am, that optimizes your body performance in many ways, they are the best. As we like to say, getting old is inevitable. Feeling and looking old is completely avoidable. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment, folks. It takes professional, targeted approaches that focus on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Again, not a one-size-fits-all mentality like so many of these testosterone clinics are. Dr. Christopher Lugo will take a personal interest in your overall health. So you can reach them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That's BAMMC.com, BAMMC.com. If you're looking for a new doctor, tell them JP sent you. All right, quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap things up. There's news involving the Valspar Championship. Another big name has joined the fray, and an interesting quote from the owner of the Warriors, or one of their owners, kind of gets to the bottom of why the NBA doesn't really care about what China's doing. And they were honest about it. Next. Attention home buyers or refinance candidates. It is a great time to purchase or refinance. Home values are going through the roof right now. You've got so much equity, time to tap into that equity, get the cash, and make sure you're making the right financial decisions in your life. Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services in Tampa can help you out on all those fronts. I've known Fitz for over 30 years. He's done 3 of my mortgages. In fact, Scott has done over 3,000 loans in the Tampa Bay area from many of our coaches, athletes, from Bucs to Bulls. And he can save you big money. AMS is a wholesale broker. They will shop your loan to dozens of banks and let them compete for your business. Quick story, one listener had a done deal with a big national mortgage company who was promising a 2.75 interest rate. Well, when it came time to lock in, it was 3.25. Emailed Scott, got him the actual 2.75, saved him over $3,000 in first-year payments and $2,200 in lender's fees. Email him, Scott at amstampa.com, Scott at amstampa.com.
Who wants free mobile service? I do. And you can get 30 gigs a month from companies like AT&T Service, T-Mobile. Great service. Keep your number and get free mobile service. It's part of the emergency broadband benefit from the stimulus bill. 87% of America qualifies. So if you think you make too much money or whatever, just go to jpcares.info and find out. It'll take you a few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up.
The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course in Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth wow the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and we'll give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636, or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian graduate of Jesuit High School and the University of Florida, and he cares deeply about you and community. That's 221-5636 or PalermoPA.com.
Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now, so go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo Closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set up the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to the closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. Will close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Second hour brought to you by the Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Dr. Christopher Lugo, BAMMC.com is where you can get them. Get a new general practitioner. The one you have just write scripts. Not a good way to go about your health. By the way, you can always interact with the show at FanStream JP. Please download our app, FanStream Sports, all one word. Our numbers are doubling almost each and every month, so we really appreciate all the support we're getting. And we're going to keep bringing it to you. 2 hours of Tampa Bay-centric sports radio each and every morning from 10 to 12 that you can listen to all day long as a podcast. And we want to thank our newest sponsor for our second hour, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Also, the Golden Diamond Source, who's been with us for a very, very long time. Steve and Julie Weintraub over there. Great time to buy some really cool jewelry, and they've got so many distinctive things over there that you will not find anywhere else. They have these exclusive collections, the Julie collection that Julie has designed herself. So many things you're going. Guys, if you've been looking for that nice watch, you got some gift cards for Christmas. Great place to go check it out. They have new Breitlings and new Rolexes, all the good stuff. They have gently used ones, a great selection, so you can get a great deal over there on a gently used watch as well. So many cool things at the Gold and Diamond Source, and they have 0% interest over 5 years. So if I get that ring, you don't have money, you'll be shocked at what you can get for $50, $60, $75 a month. So go in there and find out. As my co-host Nick Geddes found out, it's a great place to hang out, great place to buy that first ring, and you can always bring it back for 100% of its value and upgrade. Shouldn't be talking about upgrading your ring right away, should I? Before you're even married.
About to say, don't get any ideas, Case, about upgrading the ring before we're married.
Just just something to have in your back pocket, though.
Not right now, but good option to have later.
That's right, absolutely. When you make it big, and when you own Outkick.com, and you'll have to upgrade the ring, you'll get exactly what you paid for it back. I mean,
exactly.
It's a great. It's a Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road. It's about 15 minutes from downtown Tampa, right over to Howard Franklin. Check them out. All right, so did you hear about the Warriors owner?
I did. I watched a little clip that was going around, and it's pretty interesting stuff, is it not?
He's one of the minority owners, right?
Yeah, one of the minority owners.
Butcher his name. But name is kind of inconsequential here, but one of the minority owners. And, it was shocking. Somebody actually asked him this question about their stance on China, how the players like LeBron will rip social justice in America and make a huge issue out of it, but will not even speak ill of what China's doing to the Uyghurs, the genocide, the forced concentration camps, not to mention what they do to their general population as well. It's horrible. Their human rights record is just deplorable on so many records, but the NBA will do nothing about it because they get so much money. But this particular owner was very upfront about it. When asked about the Uyghur situation, he said, nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's pretty frank. It's pretty candid. But I think when it comes to the NBA, it's pretty accurate. And that's sad to hear. That's really sad to hear. It's almost as sad as the poll I saw yesterday, where 49% of Democrats polled were in favor of internment camps for fellow Americans who are not vaccinated. Let me say that again. 49% of Democrats are in favor of internment camps and keeping people in their home forcibly if they refuse or don't want to take the experimental vaccine, whose effectiveness has been shown to be not very effective, even by the Pfizer CEO called it not very effective. So that I can't even wrap my arms around that. That is so shocking to me that fellow Americans would do that to fellow Americans because they don't want to take a vaccine that doesn't keep you from getting COVID, that doesn't keep you from spreading COVID, and does keep you for the most part from getting seriously ill, doesn't keep you out of the hospital. More people are in the hospital now that are vaccinated, fully vaccinated, than non-vaccinated, even by a percentage standpoint. So even with all that information, which clearly not even the Supreme Court justices know, they would still be in favor of internment camps for fellow Americans and not giving them access to healthcare. That's shocking to me. I can't understand how a fellow American could do that. Well, to any human being on the planet, let alone a fellow American. That's really, really scary stuff. All right. Other good news. Xander Schauffele is going to play in the Valspar, the Olympic gold medalist, one of the top 10 players in the world.
Yeah, I believe that makes, I think, 5 top 10 players now who are already committed to the Valspar, and we got more to come. We're not done yet.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We're going to get a lot more commitments. This is going to be a star-studded field, and we tell you this all the time, folks. Go and get your tickets now. ValsparChampionship.com is the only place you can get them. ValsparChampionship.com. Especially the good stuff, the Hooters Owl's Nest, it's going to sell out, and you're going to be pissed off when you go to get your tickets. Like, oh, and I wanted to be in the Hooters Owl's Nest because that's awesome. They also have the Snake Pit hospitality. I forget exactly what they call it, but you get that, and you can hop from one tent to the next on the backside, which is awesome. I did that last year. So much fun. You see all your friends. You go from one to another. They got different drinks, different food options. That's awesome. Get those. They'll sell out. The Saturday tickets will definitely sell out. And Chris Young and we got
Big and Rich
and Chris Young on Saturday night. So go to ValsparChampionship.com and get those tickets. And by the way, we're going to start our Wednesday interviews for Valspar, and we're chasing this one guy. You may have heard of his name, Rondé Barber. He's now the chairman of the Valspar Championship. So we're hoping to get him on tomorrow. And right now, as we speak, the great Ira Kaufman is presenting Rondé Barber for the Hall of Fame as one of the finalists. Sal Palantonio was on the show yesterday, who was vehemently in favor of voting for Rondé Barber. He laid out the case yesterday. You can go find that on yesterday's podcast on our app, or go to YouTube or our website, and you can get all those interviews. He was great yesterday, as was John Clark from Philadelphia NBC. So right now, that's going on. And you saw the list. Sal Pal sent me the actual list of candidates that they hand in the paper they hand out in the Hall of Fame room. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And he's presenting for Dick Vermeil.
Yes.
Who I think will probably get in as well. So that's kind of cool. And looking at the list of players, I don't see 5 that are going to take Rondé's spot.
No,
I think this is the year.
This feels like the year, just like last year felt like it was John Lynch's year. You know, the big names have kind of wilted away a little bit. And now Rondé, I think, is one of the forefront names. I think when you're on that ballot for 5 years or more, like he's been now, the voters start to really put you ahead of other guys. So I'm pulling for it. You know, Ira's going to do a great job.
He is. He's going to, Sal said that yesterday. I mean, he's been in all these meetings for decades and decades. He's been working for ESPN for 29 years. He said Ira's the best presenter. Got John Lynch in, got Sapp in, Brooks. I don't think Leroy Selman, but that's I think we're in good hands.
How do you convince people though to like, hey, Derek Brooks, what do you say there?
Just gotta say Derek Brooks.
Yeah,
there's obvious guys. You don't have to spend it. Stay on. But I think Rondé, is not one of the obvious guys because the small stature, 3rd round pick. A lot of people don't think of him as a quote starter because he was a nickelback, which is stupid because he did start. And then when they wear him base defense, he played corner.
I hate the nickel argument because I feel like we're moving away from that, right? Because we're putting in Devin Hester into the Hall of Fame, probably.
Right.
We put a punter in. We're probably going to see more kickers come in eventually.
Right.
I mean, we're starting to kind of expand a little bit of position. I mean, if you're a great player, you're a great player.
But that's the thing. He wasn't just a nickelback. He also played corner and safety.
Yeah.
I mean, the versatility is why he's a Hall of Famer, and the numbers ridiculous. All right. So hopefully we'll find out, but we won't find out for a couple weeks who's in. All right, our thanks today to Scott Reynolds from PewterReport.com. Awesome conversation with him. We had at 10:30, and, of course, TJ Rives at 11:15. If you want to relive any of that, just tap that app, and the show will start up right from the beginning. On on Twitter and Instagram all day long, following the latest developments in the Rays Stadium. We talked about that. Ken Hagan went on the other station today and talked about that, which he told us a couple months ago. Same stuff. But the reaction, I think, is very interesting. So follow us on Twitter for that as well. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have Rondé on tomorrow and a few more surprises. So have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.